Yo, Mundane investor. I heard I need like a brokerage account or something to get into stocks.
Oh, yeah. Opening a brokerage account and making your first investment in the stock market is easy.
Three days later.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Now that was just a quick clip for those of you who are more self-dependent and exploratory. For those of you who want a more detailed and in-depth video of how to open a brokerage account, here's a step-by-step guide. Chances are, if you're still studying or just recently graduated, you do not have a TIN or a tax identification number. That is why we believe that COL Financial is perfect for you during this quarantine lockdown period. Before we begin, we would like to say that we are not endorsed or affiliated with COL Financial in any way. We just personally believe that it is the most convenient brokerage to open right now. The downside is though that they do not have a mobile app in which you can use your phone to buy stocks. So it would be preferable if you have access to a laptop or desktop computer in order to access COL Financial. Also ensure that you have a working email address and mobile number for the later steps. So to head over to their website, you can simply Google COL Financial. It should be the very first link. Now we see here COL Financial's homepage. In the upper right tab, we see Open Account. And if we click that, we'll be taken to another page where it gives the list of requirements and steps to take. Now don't be alarmed. It says that you'll need a TIN, but they won't actually ask for it when you fill up the online form. You will need, however, a government-issued ID. So your Philippine passport, a driver's license, PhilHealth ID, or even a voter's ID will work just fine. But remember that you need a signature. So the form of ID that you present should have a signature in which you can emulate for the later steps. So those mentioned were just the common forms of ID. But if you don't have any of those, you can just Google search other forms of ID that may be acceptable here in the Philippines. So once you click sign up, you can get started in opening your account. You'll have here your typical agreement notice. You can just go ahead and click agree. And after that, you can start inputting your relevant information. The first section to fill out is your full name, email, and mobile phone number. Take note that each input bar only has a maximum of 25 characters. If you have a second name, you may want to leave it out if it's too long. COL Financial will then send you an email confirming the email address that you just inputted. It should look something like this. After that, they will send a verification code to your mobile number. Once you enter the verification code, it's going to bring you to another page confirming both of these again, and all you have to do is just click next. After the verification steps, the first formal part of the application is deciding the type of account you will have. If you're doing this just for your personal stock portfolio, then click individual. If two people will be using the account, then just click joint. And lastly, if you are a minor or under 18, click on ITF, which stands for in trust for, which is usually held by the parent or guardian of the minor, and they will have to input their details for you. Since this will be my personal account, I'm choosing individual. Next, you will have to input your basic information like your full name again, your birth date, and your country information. After that, you will be asked to input your email address, your mobile phone number again, as well as a possible landline that you may have, and your current and permanent address. COL Financial will then ask for your employment details. Since this will be for my personal use, I'll be clicking on student. And this is how you won't be needing a TIN number. How a TIN number works is usually your employer will get it for you. So unless you have officially signed an employment contract with a company, have a formalized salary, an SSS, and other employee benefits, you can still technically click on student. The next set of questions you have to answer are mostly concerning your financial positions and employment in other brokerages. If they do apply, select yes. However, this may affect the length of your approval on your application. If not, just go ahead and select no on all of them. In the last part, if you are a US citizen, there will be additional questions for you to answer, such as what is your US address, what is your US TIN number, and others. So please be prepared to answer those if you have to. Okay guys, we're halfway through the process. You'll have to input your personal financial information now. Just simply drag down the most applicable for you. For sources of income, if you selected student under employment details, there will be a conflict on their system if you click on any other sources of funds aside from the last one, which is family, inheritance, regular remittance, or allowance. I actually made this mistake because I didn't see allowance at the end of the option, which delayed my application acceptance further. Good thing we're here to give you a heads up. For client suitability assessment, you can choose what your investment objectives are. As someone who will be using value investing as their main investment strategy, I decided to select moderate gains and moderate risk because down the line, I envisioned buying more expensive shares of stock. And likewise, I chose the longest investment period, which is 5 years, versus a shorter period, which is geared more towards trading. Depending on how much savings you have and how much of it you want to use for investment, you can choose the fraction you want. Starting off, I would also recommend using only 1/4 of your savings as not to risk all of it in one basket. And also, don't be afraid of the CSA result that ends up at the bottom of this section. Right now, mine is aggressive. But remember, it's always how you handle your money that makes it aggressive or not. For withdrawal options, which is when you want to liquidate your stock assets, you can then choose which option you would like. The easiest is of course credit to bank. Once you select that, you can input your banking details and head on to the last step. The final thing you will have to do will make use of your government ID. The first part is to take a picture of the self-photo section of your ID, placed on a white sheet of paper with your signature written out 3 times below it, like this. Next, you will have to take a picture of the back part of your ID. And lastly, you will have to take a photo of your ID like this. And once you've done that, you're done. It's so easy, isn't it? Well, that's because it is. Now, after a couple of days of waiting, you should get an email that looks something like this. If you want to start buying stocks right away with your COL Financial account, you have to fund it with at least 1,000 pesos in order to buy stock.
So as we've always been saying, anyone can be an investor. And by following those simple steps, you've already created your first brokerage account. And remember guys, today you may be a millennial, but tomorrow you could be a millionaire.